So here's this video. It's on this funny podcast clips. So this is very interesting actually. But Bert here, this comedian Bert Kreischer, gets mocked by Louis C.K. But actually, I'm going to point out that what Bert is saying is actually pretty profound. So here it is.
Someone dies. Like I remember the first person I knew that died. His name was Scott, and we were in college. And he got hit by a car. Yeah, and right on in front of the bar we were all at. And I remember thinking, but I'm still here. Like that's crazy that he's gone and I'm here. People die, but then you stay, and you're like, fuck. So I guess I always live, right?
Right, because you have lived.
Yeah, and I keep missing it. Like
Yeah, but it's like
so every time someone
this,
dies, I go, another one, man.
You're right. So every time somebody dies, it's really about your survival. It's really just another sign that you're never going to die. I don't think that's narcissistic. It's just retarded.
So this is actually a lot more interesting. It appears to me that Bert identifies with consciousness itself. When he says "I," he has a different sort of way of identifying himself than most people do, um, or he probably doesn't realize it, that he is identifying more with consciousness itself rather than uh, this typical ego type of identification that most people have. So I wrote this comment on this video. What Bert experienced is actually profound. His deep shock caused by the situation caused Bert absolute ego death in that moment. Bert was no longer Bert. Bert realized what he really is, consciousness. We're all instances of consciousness, each instance being done by a different brain. Bert was amazed at the fact that he was still there because, in a way, he just witnessed himself die. That is to say that consciousness witnessed itself die, although it was a completely different instance of consciousness that was extinguished. The consciousness named Bert knew they're the same. Each of us are consciousness being done by different individual brains. So we're all actually the same character, but with many masks. Similar to how in the video game Mario is the character and Mario gets many lives. Just because one life ends doesn't end Mario. Similar to video games, each of us are just another life of the character named consciousness. Death doesn't stop consciousness. This is why death will be followed by yet another life. The character consciousness is constantly being spawned into existence. Bert, I actually called him Brett there, but Bert had this epiphany, but is simply unable to put it into words, and so he sounds silly and gets mocked. One instance of consciousness might end, but because consciousness continues to be done by other brains, experience continues. Misspelling there. The universe remains illuminated. One candle was put out, but the universe didn't go dark because many other candles are still lit. Seeing his friend die was like watching himself die, because and that's what really caused him to be amazed that he was still here, that the universe was still illuminated, that the show was still going on despite one of the universe's eyes being closed. So seeing his friend die was like watching himself die, because what was actually happening was consciousness watching consciousness die. So once in a while, a person will have this realization because the event of consciousness seeing itself extinguish jerks it to the forefront. The mask called ego is temporarily removed, and a rare experience ensues. the sudden realization that death cannot extinguish you because you are actually consciousness, and consciousness has the insurance policy of being done by billions of different brains. The realization is immortality. I have a hunch that Bert thinks about things much more than he appears. And then Louis C.K. says, so you you realize that you're never gonna die, and then he mentions that Bert is narcissistic, or like he implies that that is the case, but he dismisses that and just calls him the R word. But the Louis didn't realize it. The words he used capture the truth. Is that each time consciousness escapes death by not that instance of consciousness not being the one that was extinguished. So consciousness survives death, even though one instance of it died. It continues to elude death. So, yeah, this is very interesting, actually. Louis C.K. personally believes in nothingness. I saw a video somewhere else where he talks about nothingness and just, that lasting forever, which is actually nonsensical. And I explain that why in my other videos. But yeah, this is very interesting. Bert is a unique individual, and there are many others that have this experience, but it is rare.